to co-op mode, round 83. This is the official video game podcast of Secret Friends Unite. And tonight you have the dynamic duo, myself, Todd Oxtra from beautiful Savage, Minnesota, in the middle of chaos that is moving, which is my least favorite game at the moment, joined by my favorite co-host in all the land. That is Mr. Mark, the Canadian Carabin. How you doing, my friend?
I am pretty good. I'm just getting over a cold. I did several tests. It is not the Rona, but it made for a nasty weekend because it went straight through the whole house, including a sick toddler, which is never fun. So if my voice gets a little raspy or I start to mute my mic a little bit, I'm still feeling that a little bit, but I'm happy to be here.
My goodness, Mark, if you look behind me, you will see I'm the proud owner of a copied version of the Castlevania NFT that Konami sold. What do you think about that?
I think that's wonderful. I think right-click save as is the downfall of all NFTs.
Yeah, I don't own it, folks, but you know what? You'd never know it because who's going to verify the blockchain anyways? Let's be honest.
Exactly. You don't get the was it hexagon Twitter symbol. Todd, you're missing out.
I know. I need like a monkey that's smoking a cigar that is wearing like those star glasses. That's all I'm missing, Mark. Come on. Yep. Oh my goodness. Maybe we should play a game. What would be your NFT? And that sounds like the worst game ever. So let's not do that. Goodness. Oh well. Let's see. Since it's been 2 weeks since we joined, so let's catch up on, one of our favorite topics, and that is buy, rent, return, Mark. Ooh. I noticed there are some big anniversaries for some games this year in 2022. Right. So we got Street Fighter, the original game, not 2, which everybody knows. Street Fighter, the original, not too good, but that's what started the whole franchise.
Right.
35th anniversary. Mm-hmm. Kingdom Hearts, 20th anniversary, going back all the way on the PS2. And Kirby, which we'll talk a little bit later, on the 30th anniversary on the good old NES. Mm-hmm. So, Mark, with the buy, rent, return of these franchises that are persevered, not going anywhere, I assume, they'll stick around. At least Street Fighter and Kirby actually have new games coming that we've heard about. Yeah. Street Fighter 6, Kirby, and the 3D Adventures, whatever you want to call it, The Last of Kirby. And then
Forgotten then, yeah.
Kingdom Hearts got a cloud version on Switch. Yay!
Yeah, sure. Okay, so before we start, I have to clarify. Is this these games or franchises?
I think it's a franchise because their first efforts were not always considered like the best.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah, that would definitely change my answers, I believe. So, oh man, okay. How am I going to go with this? You know what? You'll see what I'm playing later, but this is going to give a little spoiler for that. I am going to go with Kirby for my buy because I am excited.
Controversial, sir.
For Forgotten Land. And there have been some good Kirby games. I very much enjoyed the DS. Was it the Rainbow?
Oh yeah. Road, well, there was a couple, whatever. Right? There was Rainbow Curse, and then wasn't there another one?
I believe so. But there have been some very fun, unique Kirby games. They push the envelope. They do weird and different things with that character. And while I enjoy when they do those weird things a lot of the time, I am also very excited to see just like an action platform kind of game with Kirby Forgotten Land. So I'm going to buy that. I'm going to buy Kirby and get pumped for that game coming out at the end of the month. I'm going to rent Street Fighter because of Street Fighter 2. I played the hell out of that game. That was one of my favorite fighting franchises growing up, and I played a ton of fighting games. I've not really been into it aside from like Smash in recent years, but like my younger teenage days and even younger than that were like heavy fighting games, and Street Fighter was always a go-to favorite of mine. So Street Fighter is going to be my rent. And sadly, Kingdom Hearts, I really wanted to love Kingdom Hearts because I love Disney, and it's so convoluted. It's so crazy. If you love Kingdom Hearts, all the power to you, but I just can't follow everything that happens in those games. And I enjoy it's weird. I enjoy hearing about Kingdom Hearts and like people explaining what's going on and trying to keep people up with the story and everything. And it's like the best acid trip dream you could have with Disney characters and weirdness thrown in there. But it's not a game for me, but I love hearing about it. So sadly I'm going to return that, but I still will watch YouTube videos of people explaining and playing those games.
The real question mark is who has the best fan fiction of all these 100% games.
100% Kingdom Hearts.
Right answer.
It has to. I would say they're right up there with Smash Brothers for the best fan fiction. Has to be. Not that that's like, not that I go out of my way to read a lot of video game fan fiction or anything, but like I have to imagine that Kingdom Hearts would have the best. Has to be.
I think you're right. Yeah. Good picks, my friend. That I think you've got it nailed. Let's see. For myself, this is a hard one because I really want to love Street Fighter more than I do because I love Street Fighter 2 and they've had so many cool iterations. We had the they continued on with the 2D pixel art for quite some time. The Third Strike series really did some beautiful art and animation, really cool, adding more characters. I mean, how many versions of Street Fighter 2 were there? Turbo, Championship Edition. I mean, like I didn't know the difference between all of them, but people did. And they were really represented well on console when they first came out on the SNES and the Genesis. Then you had like that weird EX version, which was polygonal, which was weird.
Yeah.
And then Street Fighter was like gone for so many years and finally brought back with 4, which blew people's minds. And yeah, it's a really cool series. There's anime, there's a bunch of different things, action figures. But it feels like it's kind of been on a downturn lately. So I would say for myself, Street Fighter is going to be this is going to be controversial. It's going to be a return because I just am not good at the games and I just don't love them anymore.
I get that, man.
They're hard.
If you're a fan of Kingdom Hearts or RPGs, like Street Fighter is that's an easy return because they haven't been, I don't think they've been as good as they were in like the Street Fighter 2 peak era. And I'm hope like maybe Street Fighter 6 will bring it back and just be like firing on all cylinders and stuff. But like, I get that choice.
Yeah, especially with 5 being console exclusive to PlayStation and then on PC. So I know we got an announcement. I don't know if they're going to change or do anything else, but I guess we'll see how it is because PlayStation doesn't have an exclusive fighter. Xbox has Killer Instinct and then obviously Nintendo Smash. So we'll see how that goes. Then my rent is probably going to be Kingdom Hearts, only because I loved that series for the first 2 games. I didn't play all the GBA, the odd games, the spin-offs, the card mechanic game, then the re-releases, which then included all of the little movies and everything like that.
Right.
I was so excited for 3 after such a long gap. And then 3 came back and it felt like they forgot they were on new hardware. They forgot how to do voice acting. They had bad voice direction. And it just really turned me off. It's so funny because it's what I expected on the PS2 is what came forward in a better looking, package, but still felt very dated, and which is a shame. Maybe the Japanese version is better just because they did better with the voice direction, but it's a shame because they have some really good voice talent making those games. So it's weird. But yeah, it's so hard to understand what the game is trying to go after with its story. So convoluted. Like you have to watch all these things and then I hear Mickey talking about things. I'm like, Mickey, do you even know what you're saying anymore? And Donald, I'm like, these are not things Walt Disney would even recognize. So I like the fact that they tried something unique and different from a Square Lens JRPG. but I don't know if we're going to be done with Kingdom Hearts, honestly, at this point. So it's going to be my rent. But it has a lot of nostalgia for me, and I like the Disney characters when it brought forward. But really, my buy is going to be Kirby, because when you got a kid who loved Kirby, the Wii with Kirby's Epic Yarn, and the games that have come out since, my son really enjoys the Kirby games, regardless of how hardcore of a gamer he is, and he's actually really excited about this new Kirby game. And there's a co-op mode in this new Kirby game, which I don't know what it means and what it is, to be honest, but if we could play it together, I think that's really cool. I mean, Kirby is one of those series. I looked at the list of games. Kirby may have more games or appearances on Nintendo games than anybody else. I mean, there is a crap ton of Kirby games. There's at least 2 to 3 Kirby games per generation of every system. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's wild, and that's what I meant with, like, they throw Kirby at so much stuff, and I think it, partially because he is kind of I'll say kind of bland character, in the sense that, like, he's just a puffball, like a pink puffball that you can kind of do anything with. It's not like it's an established style that you have to stick to, or an established gameplay that you have to stick to. You can stick them on a surfboard, and that's the game that time, or you can turn them into yarn, and that's the game this time. And you can just do whatever you want with Kirby, and for some reason it always works, and it's always at least solid, right? It might not be like the system seller, but it's always at least solid. And yeah, I had a ton of fun with the new one. So I can't believe we both landed on Kirby for our buy.
It's so weird, Mark, but I would say it's the perfect game for a young gamer too. And adding co-op makes it a perfect game to play with a family. So when Finn gets old enough, I think Epic Yarn, if you could bring that game out, maybe it gets ported or whatever. We did have the 3DS version, but maybe bring that to Switch and bring it there, because I think that's a great game for that. So yeah, Kirby, congratulations. You made us proud. Don't eat us, please. What would Kirby be, his power be, Mark, if he swallowed you?
Tiredness. This week. Sleep. Kirby just yeah. Oh man, I don't know. Sarcasm, probably.
So he throw out memes at you and break you down to tears because you're just a fool.
Just a lightsaber and sarcasm, I think, is the power up there. Yeah. What about yours?
Oh my goodness, Mark. I think it would be dad jokes. So I don't know how you would make that a thing. Yeah. And I think you and I share a good dad joke, and Logan has loved it for years. So I don't know how that would be. I mean, if it'd be like emojis of jokes or something that you would attack them with, or they'd laugh to death. That'd be a good, So, yeah. I don't know. Sad trombone. You hit them with a sad trombone. I don't know.
Yeah. Mix up with what was the Hello Sir? Is that the insult simulator games?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do some of those kind of mechanics.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah, good deal. Yeah. Let us know, folks, what your Kirby power would be, or what Kirby would turn into you. Of course, Kirby would have a little soul patch. With Mark, he'd be a ginger with a beard.
Yeah.
And maybe a lightsaber. That's not a lightsaber because trademark.
Right. Yes. A power light sword.
Laser sword. Yes. Laser sword. Very good. So then we move on to a question we got from the winner gamer, Brendan. Glad to hear from you. I know you're doing like heavy dad work with the hospital. Yeah. We want your little one to come home soon, because I know how just frustrating that can be as a parent seeing a sick kid. So we're wishing you well, bud.
Yep. I've heard that things are progressing well. So I think that's going to happen sooner rather than later. And for anyone listening that doesn't know, not quite sick kid, premature, born a little early. So we don't want to give the wrong impression that there's an ill child, aside from just, jumping into the world a little early. Just excited to meet everyone, right? That's it. So I think she's getting along well, and there we go. But yeah, I can't wait to hear that or see that everyone's home and safe and happy. And I can't even imagine, man. When Finn was born, we were I'll say trapped in the hospital because we couldn't leave, because that was like the start of everything with COVID lockdowns. That was only a couple months into it. And so we were literally like stuck in a room. I was escorted up to the showers and then had to like go back. Like that was my one escape through the day. And that was only for a week. And I started going nuts. So I can't imagine more time in there. Although I guess they can leave and stuff now, so that's kind of a bonus there. But I started going pretty awfully shack wacky after a week. So yeah, that's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I my heart goes out to anybody that has to go through that. My sister lost a child who spent a year in the hospital and never got to bring him home. Yeah. So this time there at the hospital with your kid, it's not ideal. Doesn't get the bonding time you need. So we want you guys to be home soon and just enjoy that ridiculous fun that we all went through, because kids are a hoot and they make our lives brighter.
Absolutely.
All right. So his question is, what are some of the favorite games to replay, or which games are you looking forward to replaying? I'm currently replaying God of War and find it so good that I'm contemplating replaying it again. Wowie wow. I went through the same thoughts on God of War. I played a little bit of it to replay it again, and then something else distracted me. I'm the wrong person for this question. I do not replay games. I don't read books. I don't rewatch shows. I rarely rewatch movies. I'm 46 years old. My time is so damn limited. I am always on the outlook for the newest, biggest thing that I'm going to love, and it's going to be my biggest thing that changes my life. So just replaying things, I just don't have the time to. There's just too much stuff. So I don't replay things. I will rewatch YouTube videos, because to me that's good enough. Because I just don't have 20 hours to resync back into a game. But I'm so excited about God of War, so I totally appreciate that.
Excellent. For me, this is two very different answers for this one, because so as far as like what I'm looking forward to replaying, I actually messaged Brendan about this. He messaged me and kind of cursed me out a little, because the last episode of Holocron Chronicles was all about Jedi Fallen Order, and just talking about that game, going back and looking up some videos and looking up some beats and that kind of thing, because I didn't have time to replay it before we recorded. But after talking about it and after recording it, and Brennan messaged me and said, damn it, like now I have to replay that game. And I said, yeah, I'm kind of feeling the same way. Like I have to go back and replay that I think this will be the third or fourth time playing that. But I need to. Don't know if I'll beat the whole thing, but I might just turn it on easy just to go through the story 100% and just kind of really experience that again. Because the last time I did it, it was more amping up the difficulty rather than playing it for the story beats. So this one might be a story playthrough. I don't know. I haven't settled on that, which is why I haven't started replaying it yet. Plus, I've been distracted with some other things, which I'll get to. But my favorite games to replay, and games that I play, I replay the Super Mario games, the early ones. So Super Mario Brothers, will sometimes dabble in 2, but it's not my favorite to go back to. So 1, 3, and Super Mario World are my go back favorite replay games. If I am just bored and don't know what else to play, if I'm feeling like I have been for the past little bit of kind of in a gaming rut, a lot of times those games will get me back and get me out of that rut. This time it was something different, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But those are the games that I will go back and replay, and they just work. They just get me out of there, and that's what I need. So they are some of my favorite games to replay, and I have them in so many places that I can replay them on the go, or I can replay them on the NES Classic with that controller, or the Super Nintendo Classic, or whatever it is. So that's my go-to favorite games to replay.
Fantastic. I would say I will convert that. Arcade games. I will go back and play arcade games, because that's the whole nature. You just go back pulsing. You're not completing Pac-Man. Pac-Man, you play 2 levels and you ditch. So there you go. That would be mine. So very good. Let us know, folks, what your go-to games are for replaying. If you have those, because man, oh man, we do not suffer from a lack of games, and that is 100% true. So, but you know what? Chicken soup for the soul. Super Mario Brothers for Marky Mark.
That's it, man. That's exactly the way to describe it. It's chicken soup for the soul. Like that is, yeah, that's a perfect way to describe that. Great question,
Makes you
Brandon.
feel good. It's like a good song, or
yeah.
it's something like that. It's just whatever makes. It's just, and for me, a lot of it is video game music. Sometimes, like the Mega Man selection menu, love it.
Oh, yeah.
It's on my Castlevania, all that stuff. Love the video game music. Just pierces your skull and says, "Hey, remember that? Member berries, folks. Member berries." There we go. Yeah. So now it's time to actually talk about video games, Mark. What we've been playing. My goodness, I'm so excited about this. And this is going to actually go into our bonus round. So very quickly, we're going to talk about something you have that I've been talking about for a couple of years. And now you've joined the cult.
Finally. I've been talking about this so much. And the last episode, so 2 weeks ago, I said I was this close to getting it and I backed out because there was some stuff I had to do around the house, and I did those things around the house, and some other stuff will get done later in the spring. And I'm not gonna lie, it's been a rough month, rough year so far, whatever. So it's you know, we packed up my grandfather's place. He passed away a little over a year ago now, but we finally sold the place and packed it up and everything, and walked away from that place for the very last time. And that sucked after, working hard to clear everything out and whatever. And so I needed some retail therapy. And what better way to cheer myself up than dropping several $100s on an Oculus/Meta Quest 2 VR system that I've been wanting for a very long time. And that's how I justified this purchase to myself. Because my wife was all like, just do what you want, get it. I don't care. That's great. And she's been loving it too. So quickly, I'm not going to get into every single one of these in detail, but quickly.
Which model did you get? Did you get like the 120 gigabyte standard model?
Yeah, just the basic standard model, which is like, so when I start listing the games, 128 gigs, and I still have like 98 gigs free on this. So I can't imagine needing space unless the games start to get bigger or something. Like 128's been doing it so far because I have played Beat Saber, Walkabout Mini Golf, Star Wars Tales from Galaxy's Edge, Bait, which is a fishing game, Fruit Ninja, dove into a little bit of Horizon Worlds, and checked out some of the other stuff like Horizon Venues. So Horizon's like Facebook's attempt at the early metaverse kind of thing, right? Where your avatar's in there and you walk around and you can create worlds or go to concerts or do that kind of stuff. I have a few more games on there that I just installed and haven't played. Like there were a couple that you recommended. There were a couple of freebies that I just kind of picked up and installed. But like those ones that I listed were the games that I spent the most time in the last couple of weeks. Beat Saber is amazing. Holy crap. You said Logan's a big fan of that one. I can see why.
Mark, he does things in Beat Saber that no person should be able to do. I don't know how he does it.
Yeah. My Kirby power-up lightsaber is been seeing some good use in Beat Saber because I jumped into that game and it feels right. I don't know if it's like I've hearing Sean Capri and his kids or seeing them playing Guitar Hero and Rock Band made me want to get back into the rhythm games, and then my love of Star Wars and lightsabers. This is a perfect combination for me. Right now to get in, and it's so much fun. Walkabout Mini Golf is wild. That is one of my favorite experiences so far. If you have a Quest 2 or a Quest, try that out if you like mini golf. It's very immersive, like super immersive, and like the physics is right on for like a mini golf experience. It's really impressive. Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge, I thought I would be putting more time into, but realistically, I've been playing Beat Saber and mini golf, so I'll get back into Galaxy's Edge, but it's so far very impressive. But also the only one of these experiences so far that I felt a little bit of that motion queasiness.
Ooh, okay.
by default, that game is a teleport game. So you point,
Okay. Yep.
your thing and you kind of teleport. I turned that off and wanted like the full like walkthrough controls. And I think I adjusted the speed a little bit too fast. Cause I don't get motion sick. Boats, roller coasters, rides, whatever you can throw me on, I will go on for hours and not get motion sick. The only time I do get motion sick is when my body doesn't feel what my brain is seeing. Sure. So like the Harry Potter ride at Universal, every time.
Really? Because that's a fantastic ride too.
I know, but
I get motion sick, Mark, and I was perfectly fine. Weird.
Yeah, it's the part where and it might be just because I know how that ride works. I may have ruined it on myself because there's a part where you're on the Quidditch pitch, I think, and you're like going forward, but the ride is actually moving sideways. And there's something with my balance or equilibrium that my body detects it. My body knows that I'm moving sideways, but it looks like it's moving forwards. The explanation that I was given is because my body picks up that I'm actually moving sideways, but my visuals are picking up that I'm moving forward, it thinks I'm poisoned and wants me to throw up the poison. Is the explanation I was given. So I think that's the same thing for some of these VR games.
Who told you that, Lauren, after you got a new insurance policy?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, that was...
oh, wait, that wouldn't make sense then, would it?
No, she just poisoned me straight up. And just,
okay, that's right there. I will recommend one and pro tip because we had a comment about, hey, love the VR talk that I've done before. One of the things I recommend, and actually it's pretty simple. It's called C-bands. They're like pressure sensitive little wristbands, and they have like a pressure point that goes on your wrist. I have motion sickness. I wore those to Universal Studios, the Disney parks. I was golden. Didn't get sick once. I will wear them with VR on occasion, but the majority of the time I feel okay in VR. So they're like $10 on Amazon. You get 2 pairs. I recommend it. Try it out.
I'll have to look into that. And once I turned off the like control motion, I turned it back to teleport mode. 0 problems.
Good to go. Okay.
And I don't know what I'm going to end up doing with that one, but that was the one experience, and that was like the first time of like jumping into something in VR. So as I get used to maybe being in a virtual world, maybe that will go away. But I might try the C-bands thing. Man, this is so much fun, and if anyone has any recommendations or whatever, let me know for games. Yeah.
No Vader Quest, Mark. Do they give Vader Quest away anymore for free or no?
No.
Okay.
Vader Immortal.
Yes.
Why there's three parts to that one. Basically, I flipped a coin.
Okay.
I said I want one Star Wars game because you can buy Vader Immortal. You can buy like the 3 parts separately, or there's just a bundle with the 3 of them, and you save like $2 or something. And I literally flipped a coin. I said, do I want Tales from Galaxy's Edge or do I want Vader Immortal? Which one first? Because once I finish one, I'm buying the next one, and let's go. So Galaxy's Edge won. And once I finish that, I will go into Vader Immortal.
I own both. I've not played Tales from the Galaxy's Edge. Fun story. The Quest is a perfect thing to have, Mark, when you have guests over. It's like, you got to try this out and pick the experience. So my one friend, one of my best friends, he's been around the world. Nothing phases him. Give him the Quest, and he tries out Vader Immortal. Climbing up a ladder and then looking out messed him up. Like, he couldn't deal with like heights, like a sense of like heights. Shit. And it messed him up. He's like, I can't do this. So he'd take it off. But it's kind of cool. And it's like, not that I wanted him to have bad action, but the fact that he felt like heights were messing with him shows you kind of how immersive this thing can be.
Well, that was one of the things with Walkabout Mini Golf. One of the courses starts you off on a cliff. So if you're standing up and if heights kind of throw you off, like, watch out. Cause it is like I was standing up in my living room and then suddenly I'm on this cliff face and it was like, woo, that's something. And like, it is crazy how immersive it is, of like how you actually feel like you're on a cliff face for a second. You see all those things of like the plank, I forget what it's called, Ricky's plank experience or something like that. But like people actually get a plank of wood and they walk on it and you're supposed to jump off and they jump into a TV or a wall or something. I haven't tried that one yet, but
well, don't jump into your TV, please.
I'm going to
don't
try
do it
not
for
to.
like science. Yeah.
But yeah, man, VR is awesome. And we're going to talk about
Yeah,
a
we'll go
little bit
more
more
into
later.
details about covering the whole world of VR, kind of where it's
yeah.
at, cool things that you may not know about VR.
Mhm.
Because now that we both have it, it's not me just talking to the void, because it's kind of cool. So very
Yeah.
cool.
And
Neat.
if anyone has it, let's meet up in Horizon Worlds, because that was another fun experience of just meeting up with like random people in there. But I think it'd be way more fun with like some friends. And like I just jumped in with, like I said, with a random lobby, and we were just kind of like, there was a boomerang game we were playing and like throwing paper airplanes and stuff, and just like hanging out and chatting and stuff. And
There's poker, there's VR chat, there's all these
yeah, like
opportunities just to
paintball
be
too.
exactly. It's your voice, it's you doing things. It's kind of just the coolest part of all the things. I mean, I imagine people will do well, we'll talk about that. Sorry, I'm just getting my brain is just exploding in
Yeah,
ideas.
exactly. So before we keep going with that, I do want to say, and I mentioned this before, I played the Last of Kirby, the Kirby and the Forgotten Land, the whatever you want to call this. But the new Kirby game has a demo. It's 3 stages, I want to say, maybe 4. A couple of stages and a boss fight, basically. I loved this. There are a couple of modes. Inside baseball, we were thinking about talking about accessibility in games today before we kind of pivoted to VR. And maybe we can talk about accessibility with VR, because that's another part of that. But I did very much appreciate the 2 modes. And to your point earlier, like this could be one of Finn's first games because he loved it. I spent literally 30 minutes to maybe close to an hour playing hide and seek and peekaboo with Kirby, because when you press the control pad, Kirby does different things. And one of the things, when you press up, he waves and says hi. And he did that, and Finn waved and said hi back. So that set me off on like, what can we do? So I was hiding Kirby behind trees and like poking him out and then saying hi, and Finn would laugh and say hi back. I gave him a Kirby amiibo he's been carrying around and going up to people and going, hi. And so Finn instantly fell in love with Kirby. And that like instant purchase for me just to mess around with him and play hide and seek. So not only is the game really, really solid so far, just based on the demo stages, but also it's cute as hell with my toddler. So 2 thumbs up for me. I'm very excited to play the full version.
Yeah, there's 2 modes, three levels to play. I played the first level. They let you kind of experience most of the game, which is, you can absorb characters. It's more like Mario 3D World than it is an open world game, because you have levels. You don't get to go too far off the beaten track, which in those games I'm just always moving the camera. I'm like, can I go over there? Is there something hidden? Nope, I can't. Okay, that's fine. I did die once because I thought there might be something over after a ledge. So I'm like, yeah, I died, and I'm like, okay, don't do that, Todd. I got mouthful mode. I was a car. That was kind of fun.
It's so hilarious. What else do you turn into in the demo? Pylon, a vending machine. What was the other one? Very entertaining.
Yeah, perfect game to play with others. I'm not sure how co-op mode works with it, so that's something that's kind of cool to do. I'm assuming it's just local, maybe not online. I don't know. More to come on that. It's coming out the 25th of March. $60. Pro tip: Walmart sometimes you can go into the store and get Nintendo games and day launch games for $10 off. So check it out there too. If you like the physical games, I always say as a family, physical is the way to go with Nintendo games, because you don't have to buy it multiple times. You just get the cart. Although, watch your kids; they'll lose the carts. They'll lose the game cartridge, which Logan did. So there. But yeah, it should be a lot of fun. And curious to see what they do with the more difficult mode, because that seems like it's going to be more like to get all the stuff. You really have to challenge yourself, which is nice to add that kind of, like you said, accessibility. You decide how you want to play, and that's how you enjoy the game.
And you can do it stage by stage too. So if you're stuck on a stage, you can just instantly drop the difficulty down and still get the experience. So I really enjoy how accessible this is. And we're hearing that a vast change from something else that you played. So why don't you jump in?
Yeah, let's talk about Elden Ring. This is the game that is apparently like the number 3 or 4 Metacritic game of all time. Highly reviewed. It's available on PC, Xbox, and PlayStation, basically any game system you have. And it is by the creator of Dark Souls, Demon Souls, Bloodborne, Atagi, for you guys who remember that from a software game, King's Field, all those things. This is a hard game, but it is essentially all those games, but they pivoted to an open world, which didn't make it easier, but what it did do to the series, which is a fantasy era series, ridiculously hardcore, difficult, very vague, with a assist with story by George R. Railroad Martin for some reason. Not sure why he was brought in, but I don't know what he did, because there's really not much story at all in this game. A limited cutscene. I think he
laid out it sounded like he laid out concepts,
sure,
maybe some character story beat kind of things, but it sounded like it was very kind of a loose, like, here's my general pitch, have fun with it.
Yeah, so I'm sure he had nothing to do with the combat mechanics or mechanics of it at all. So no map. No, hey, you should add this to the map. That would look cool. No, he had nothing to do with that.
He didn't pick Ohio?
No, Ohio games. We need more Ohio games, or hell, Michigan games. Yeah, that's a real city, folks. But yeah, I mean, if you like these type of games, you're gonna love this. If you have not loved these type of games, you're probably not gonna like it. But the open world could change your mindset on that. The big thing that open world brings into this game series, which is knights and warriors, you select your character class, you can wield weapons, you can have some magic, you pick your stats. The funny part is, Mark, you get like 12 character classes to choose from. And the description for these character classes is as vague and boring as you'd want. It's like, why would I choose one over the other? I don't know. That's part of the thing that people love. They don't tell you anything, so you kind of just pick and choose. But the problem is, people then go to YouTube or GameFAQs or Reddit to ask all those same questions. So it's like, it's not like they're going in blind. They still have to go to a resource to find these things out. So it's very like, yeah, the game's not telling you, but you still have to do these things. I don't know anybody that goes in blind and never looks up a FAQ or something like that. So it's a very weird idea. And they don't apologize for anything in this game. They've said this is a difficulty as part of this series. Miyazaki, the creator, is like, this is what he wants to do. Perfectly fine with that. Don't beg for a less difficult game. Don't expect them to explain mechanics. Don't expect them to understand, like, oh, this is how you equip things. They don't even tell you how to do that, which is just like, really? You aren't going to tell me how to equip the horse ring to bring my horse? Nope. And then the way you control things, it's like there's 85 things essentially on your D-pad to select. So once again, in combat, when you're struggling, you can easily make a mistake. So getting back to where I came from, the open world is a good addition in regards to, if you're running into a boss like a dragon who's really, really ridiculous, and you may not know he's ridiculous until you actually start fighting him, you can run away. And then you can go and kill some scrubs and get your power-ups and level yourself up. Don't be afraid to run away from things, because that's how you kind of know you're going to be better. So my class is an astrologer. I can use a sword. I can use a shield, but my character is more suited to magic. So I have a wand that shoots a couple spells, but I'm limited with your health and your magic with vials of potion. You only get so many. And you can choose, though, of your 4 you get, how you want to distribute those through the menu system. They don't tell you that either until you go to the thing. So once again, the theme is, if you have to be led or told where to go, this is not the game for you. But the cool part about this game is, and I was ready to quit. I complained to my son Logan. I said, I don't like this. It's not for me. It's going to take a lot of time to to really get good, and that's the theme of these games, get good, which requires a lot of repetition and leveling up. Some people just put 180 hours into this game and they love it. Some people, I put 20 hours and barely scratched the surface and I had enough. So I quit after about 90 minutes. Logan says, "What are you doing, Dad? That's ridiculous." So he's gone hardcore into this game series. He loves hard games. That's who he is, not me. I like a narrative story. I like these things. This very thing. But he said, "Let me tell you how to do things." I'm like, perfect. Okay, this is what I wanted. Same way I played with Destiny. I had a Sherpa, someone to guide me and carry me along that is better than me, but I still want to enjoy the experience. So that's what Logan did. So Mark, with Logan's help, I beat my first mini boss.
Sweet.
Then, along with Logan's help, I ended up getting a cool meteorite wand. And Logan's not letting me give up. So he's like pushing me. He's like an athletic trainer. Like, get good, lift that, do an extra set. So I would say if you've never played this type of series before, if you're going to play this game, have somebody to play with it. There is a co-op element to this. It's very weird to get there. You can bring in like these weird people to play with you that are like almost like AI, but you can resurrect them and bring them on. So I would say this game is not for everybody, but there's something for everybody in this game, which is so weird because I was going to give up, not going to give it a try, but I'm weirdly enjoying the experience, but it's really because my son and I are enjoying it together. It's like a co-op game with him just enjoying giving me his experience like me I used to do with him. He's having the opposite experience where he's much more knowledgeable, he's much more experienced. He even mocked me for the way I control my guy. He's like, "Dad, you have to use the crab control." Mark, are you familiar with the crab control?
Yeah.
So that's how he wants me to use it. I'm like, I'm not. I've played games for like almost
I was just going to say, you're not going to get me to use crab controls. Not a chance.
Yeah, it's like this. It's this weird thing where you have multiple fingers on the front versus carrying a controller like this. It feels alien to me, which I get it if you're just new. But yeah, it's very odd. So I can't wait to hear in 15 years, Mark, what Finn is telling you to get good at, because it's a weird experience.
I can't wait. Right now, that person is my brother.
Oh.
My brother's a big Dark Souls fan and has been.
Oh, geez. I didn't know this. You haven't talked about this.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's a massive Dark Souls fan
wow.
and has tried to get me into the series multiple times. And we had a discussion this weekend about Elden Ring because I told him I was going to pick it up, and then I got the quest, and I didn't because, why would I bother getting something else if I'm going to be in VR the any chance I get to play games. So I put it off, and we had a conversation about how much he's enjoying it, and he's loving it. And one of those people is, 20 hours, and I just beat my first boss, and they're going to put 180 hours into this game and love every second of it, and blah, blah, blah. For me, it's so weird because I've never gotten into a Souls game, and I've tried several, and there's just something about it that I can't get into. And I like tough games. One of my favorite games a couple of years ago was Celeste. I think that was my game of the year.
Yep.
And name a tougher, more frustrating game than trying to get through Celeste, which I stuck with until I beat, and I never turned the difficulty down. I never bothered to adjust any of those settings. I played it as is, as developed, as recommended, and I beat that whole game start to finish and felt good about it. And I love those kind of games like Meat Boy and all that kind of stuff. For whatever reason, when you change it into 3D, or maybe it's the griminess of it or something, there's something that breaks in my brain that I'm just like, ugh, I'm giving up after 20 minutes. And it's like, I get stabbed by one skeleton and I'm just like, I've had enough of this. And I have to get over that because I think I'd enjoy the lore and the games and all this kind of stuff. And maybe I'll be able to stick with Elden Ring, and I'll get my brother to Sherpa me like Logan's been doing with you. But there's something, and Colin and I had a pretty good conversation about what is broken in my brain that makes me stick with Celeste and those kind of games when I want to beat my head off a wall, but then I just stick with it and grind through. But when it's and I don't know if is it 3D? Is it something about I have no idea what it is, but yeah, not a clue. But that's it. I will eventually get Elden Ring.
Mark, I would say then this becomes a challenge to you with your streaming. You and Colin streaming, you playing Elden Ring.
Oh, there you go.
Very simple. A few drinks. Yep. You do stupid things. And just a precursor, I was watching and on Kind of Funny. Oh my goodness. Blessing Jr. was this little clip. Did you see that? There is a hand spider. It's a hand that moves like a freaking spider. And I'm like, what? And he was just like paused in horror and didn't know what to do. And he's like, I'm pushing the button. I say with Logan all the time, I'm pushing the button and it's not working. So this game is kind of disgusting in some ways. The bosses don't look good in regards to like a classically well-designed thing. It's like they put extra arms on things. They like make them gloppy. It's really not a
just
pretty
disgusting.
game. Yeah, it's not even a pretty game when I compare that to like other games. It's not a pretty game. It doesn't run fantastic on any console. And it was funny because I was playing on Xbox Series X because I got it from GameFly. The load times compared to PS5 for some reason are 3x the length. Like it takes, which is weird. And that's a game where you don't want the load times to be long because you die a lot. So yeah.
That could be the other thing, because with something like Celeste, you're instantly back in.
Exactly. Yeah,
and
fast.
That for me kind of motivates me to keep going. If I have to wait 30 seconds to get back in and then I die and have to wait another 30 seconds and then I die and then I have to wait another 30 seconds, it's just like I'm waiting more than I'm playing, and it just becomes something I don't want to do. So,
and it's 5 versus 15 seconds. So it's not like a huge amount, but still with today's consoles, it's like 5 seconds. That's too long. I should be playing right away. So yeah, it's a weird thing. But to that point, Mark, some difficult games that challenges you and why do you keep playing? And that would be my experience with the next game that I actually got to participate for the good or bad of other people who watched me, which was I participated in the Gaming for Guru. This is Bobby Paul's. It's in his memory. It's a charity for autism. At this point, we raised some funds. I donated a Twitch gift card. I streamed for about 2 hours Hades. So Sean Capri, Quest for Pixels, a lot of other people participate in this. I'm glad we can do this as a memorial for Bobby so he never gets forgotten. And you know what? He would watch me play and say, Todd, you are trash. You are ridiculously, you're so bad. Why do you have bad taste in games? Why are you playing Hades? So I played Hades. And Mark, you talked about Hades. I've talked about
this
Hades.
game.
I set it down because I'm like, I get it. I like it. I like what the studio does. The narrative is fantastic. The whole point is you want to die more, so you get more story. Because if you beat the game like my son did very early on, he didn't get half the story. I'm like, I'm experiencing new things in this game after my 20th or 30th death, which is great.
Yeah.
But I'm not good at this game, Mark. I've beaten Megara, I don't know how many times. But then by the time I'm getting around to her, so I'm like, I'm in this mode, though. I've gotten the mojo flowing, Mark, where I'm like, if I just go in and I get X, I can do Y, which is an important part that separates it from a lot of roguelike and roguelike games where you do feel like you're making progress, regardless of how little you make. Like, I'm like, ooh, I got this. I love the gauntlets. Those are cool weapons. Let me get this. And as you go through it, you choose how you choose how you upgrade yourself. Like, I want this to be 2x as you do your dash, or you do this, or you do that, which I found just endearing. And I really got into a groove. And I think I played it for like 4 hours, which I don't play games like this for 4 hours, Mark. So I had a blast. I streamed it, like I said, for 90 minutes. I'm a bad streamer, Mark. I found as I game, I can barely talk. Like, I get distracted.
Especially in a game like this where it's so focused because there's so much going on. It's a tough game to stream.
Yeah, it is. It truly is. It's like you're just trying to survive. You get through the each board, and you get lucky if you get the right power up, what you assign. It's almost like you're speccing yourself for every run. You get mocked for your performance. You have different things. You've got like a little Medusa type character who likes you, has a little crutch on you. You can give gifts. It's fun. It's a really cool game. I'm glad I got to stream it. It was fun. This will happen again next year. So yeah, hopefully everybody can participate and have a good time, and hopefully. And I had a couple people drop by and say hi. Skinny Matt, Lee Navarro stopped by too to say hi. They probably left in fear and terror, but thank you guys. Appreciate that.
I'm so sad that I did not get to stream. I had plans on streaming both Friday and Saturday. Friday I felt like absolute garbage, and then Saturday I was like, maybe I'll stream. Maybe I'm feeling good enough. You think I sound rough now? You should have heard like Saturday. Literally, I came downstairs. We got Finn to bed because he was miserable as well for most of the day, Thursday and Friday, and he started kind of coming around. So we got him to bed, and I came downstairs and tried to say, "Do you want to stream?" And I had zero voice, like nothing. And I was like, "Never mind."
Watch Mark die on stream.
Yeah, and then and luckily, Loren was not in the mood because she started feeling crappy as well Saturday. So we decided that it was better to put it off. I think I'm still going to do some streaming, and I'll do it under the kind of the Gaming for Guru label. Won't be able to enter people that donate into the big prizes, but I still have some stuff put away that I can kind of give away as prizes and stuff like that. So encourage people to raise some more money for the Autism Society. So we'll do that once we're all feeling better, maybe this coming weekend or something like that. And I'll let people know through our social channels and everything when that's happening. But yeah, I really appreciate everyone that streamed and all the effort that went through this weekend. That's it's awesome.
Perfect. Well, that is what we've been gaming, folks. If you have questions about games we're interested in playing, games we got coming up, we've got some news coming about that actually. So we'll get into the news, Mark. But very quickly, we keep getting all these awesome announcements about video games getting TV shows, movies, and things. And we got an announcement about God of War is getting a TV show. It's apparently going to come to video, Prime Video, which is funny because Sony doesn't have a streaming service, so they can essentially be a free agent and put their product anywhere. And it looks like Amazon is the winner of that. The next Sony project, we had Uncharted, which, Mark, are you interested at all in Uncharted?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I love those games, and I need to. I haven't been out to see a movie in a long time, so I need to. And yeah, I'll probably see Batman first,
Okay.
but I will eventually watch Uncharted.
It's a fun watch, regardless of whatever it is. It's not a bad movie, which is
Right.
important. It's not like it's good for a video game. I think it's a competent Indiana Jones movie, so don't worry about that. And then obviously we've got the Uncharted TV series come to HBO Max by the team that brought you Chernobyl. Which let's not talk about anything from that region of the world. But then now we're
Last
getting,
of
and
Us.
obviously, well, and I don't know, the Last of Us. That's awesome. We've got the Sonic movies. We're getting a Sonic TV series. And I don't know, you've heard of that. The funny part is we're getting Twisted Metal TV series that's
Right.
going to Peacock with Anthony Mackie, and it's supposed to be like
Yes.
more of a comedy, which might be more like a Peacemaker, which could work in a very weird
Absolutely.
maze. But we're getting enough projects that we're not always going to say, well, video games are doomed. They're going to be doing different things. So we're now getting this God of War series on Amazon Prime. Very little is known. Who's going to be in it? What it's going to be? Will it take place prior to the 2018 game series, kind of like starting off on his origins? Will we get
Yeah.
an adaptation of the 2018 game? Obviously, we've got a new game coming out potentially, as we'll talk
Mhm.
this year as well. So, Mark, when it comes to God of War, that's a game you still need to play,
Yep.
and you will play it eventually.
Absolutely.
But when we talk about a TV series, a lot of opportunity to build characters, tell a story, build a mood. So, when it comes to your thoughts, who do you think should play Mr. Kratos?
I saw Jason Momoa thrown out today online, and I like that one. I don't know how willing he is to shave off his locks, or maybe I don't know, maybe they find a way to change the character a bit and give him some hair or whatever they want to do. But I think that's some decent casting. I'm sure there's some others that I'm not quite thinking of, but like I said, I saw that one, so now it's in my head. So I'm gonna throw that one out there. What about you?
And Mark, the funny thing, we talked about this earlier. You said Jason Momoa was on Baywatch. I'm like, I thought he was, but I couldn't remember that. And he did have short hair at launch on Baywatch. Then he did grow some luxurious locks. So money has got to be a great motivator. Do you remember that like TV commercial he did where he was old Jason Momoa and he pulled off his hair and he pulled off his muscles? So maybe he would be along with a ride and just wear a skull cap or something. That could probably work. I think he'd be great. It's a hard ask because is being big an important part of the role, or is it the tenor of the voice? Is it the intensity? And so you think about big folks and their capable acting. Now, I love Peacemaker with John Cena. I don't think he's the right character, but do they dip into the wrestling realm? We had The Rock, John Cena. There are some good, because wrestlers are essentially actors that punch. I mean, that's the do they go that realm? Because I don't know how many other actors that are big. I mean, The Rock is probably too much like The Rock these days, where it's like it's hard to see him not being The Rock. So if it's being big counts, maybe going with an unknown would help.
Right. Yeah.
And somebody who's got some chops. And I'm going to pull out one that's weird, but maybe it could work. Tom Hardy was huge as hell as Bane. He doesn't care what you do to him. He's fine looking horrible, and he's a pretty damn good actor. He gets wacky and weird, kind of like a Nick Cage at times, but he could probably pump himself up and really put himself into this role. So I think Tom Hardy could fit the bill and get to about 250 bills, if you get my drift.
Yep. Yeah, he is good and versatile and seemingly, at least in the past, willing to put on some pounds and some muscles. So that interesting choice.
Yeah, so let us know, folks, who you think would be good as Kratos. Obviously, a lot of good characters to be in this, depending on how they go. I don't know how they're going to manage the budget, although it seems like Amazon doesn't scare from a budget like Lord of the Rings and those things. You're going to need a creature budget. You're going to have to really do cool fight scenes.
Yeah.
So pulling those off convincingly is going to be tough, but I love this, that we're getting more of these type of shows. I love The Witcher. I love a lot of what we're seeing. The Cuphead show, Mark, have you watched that yet?
I haven't, no.
It's great. It's fun. It feels like they captured the heart of it, but adding some layers of like for kids, but for adults on multiple levels. So I think this could be really, really good. Something that I don't think will be really, really good because of multiple things, and that is Star Wars Eclipse. Star Wars Eclipse, it was announced during the Game Awards, shown. It's I think it's during the High Republic era.
Yeah.
Okay. It's done by Quantic Dreams, and that is not a great thing in regards to the type of game that Disney wants them to make. Lucasfilms, they want to make an action adventure type game. And because of that, and because of a lot of drama around that studio, apparently it's been said that now they are saying this game will not be ready until 2027 or 2028 because they cannot get talent. I wonder why.
Yeah, because the studio is toxic as hell and nobody wants to work there. I've talked about this game several times on Holocron Chronicles. I think we might have even mentioned it here a couple of times. There's so much wrong with this game and this studio and everything about this that I would not, as much of a fan. Like, I do 2 podcasts. One's a video game podcast and one's a Star Wars podcast. So if you tell me there's a Star Wars video game, I should be very pumped about that. And I would not shed a single tear or lose a second of sleep if I heard this game was going the way of the dodo. So for me, it's just, there's just so much wrong with it that I just kill it. Just just take the youngling killing lightsaber to this thing and just treat it like some sand people that kidnapped your mother. Let's just put it down.
It's so weird because they used the trailer at the Game Awards apparently to get excitement and recruit talent. I think the gaming development community is a pretty small and tight-knit group, and they know, like Glassdoor or whatever they use, they know what they'd be walking into a studio. I don't think anybody's that naive. And anybody that is naive is probably just so desperate for a job in the industry that they'll go after it. So they aren't known for having an engine that would even support this type of game. I mean, there's just so many like red flags that it's like, and Disney and Lucasfilm should have due diligence. They've got money. They can investigate anybody. James Gunn, they found his old tweets. So,
right.
I mean, like come on.
They've done so much worse for things that aren't even nearly as bad as the stuff that like Quantic Dream's been accused of, like the David Cage and the leadership there. Yeah. That there's just so much drama about this game, let alone, like you said, the engine and stuff just not really being set up for this kind of game, and them not making this like the kind of game that this seems to be setting up as. Like, there's just problem on top of problem on top of problem. And if you want some better background, I've been pointing people towards Pink Milk, Star Wars podcast. They are the people that have headlined the Blackout Star Wars Eclipse hashtag on Twitter. That is who I go to for the best insight into this and why it's troubling. And I try to keep up on things, but I always point people towards that show. And I've had them on Holocron Chronicles to talk about this stuff too. So it's if you want to like look up that hashtag on Twitter to find out more and listen to their show, listen to Holocron and get into it more if you want to there. But like, just kill this game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the games for Star Wars games that are potentially in development. I mean, there's a long list of cool games. We got the Knights of the Republic remakes coming. We've got Star Wars Hunters, if you like that type of more fluffier game. Sure. We've got the Lego game. We've already talked about that. That's got an actual release. It's gone gold, Charlie. Calm down. You're good to go. But no online co-op, Mark.
Nope, couch co-op only. I know.
Jeez, Pete. We do have the Ubisoft game, which we know nothing about. Come on.
Yep.
Hopefully E3. Come on, bring us some noise there. And then we've got some games like Respawn and EA apparently has got more games in the hopper for Star Wars that Respawn's going to be behind.
They've confirmed Jedi Fallen Order 2 as well.
Yeah.
Like that sequel is 100% happening. Like we're not missing out on great Star Wars experiences. Like if this one goes away, even if this came out tomorrow, I don't think I'd play it at this point just because of who made it. But like, I still don't have faith that even if it does come out, it's going to be any good. So like, just like I said, I don't know, just drop it at this point.
Yeah, it's a weird mixed bag. I mean, it just seems like some projects just need check the room and just you know what, bad idea. We'll pay whatever you paid for the license. Quantic Dream, we're gonna part ties, do whatever dumb stuff you want to do, and let's focus on what's good about Star Wars. And games have been a bright spot for Star Wars for sure, and we don't want it to go on a negative. But lastly, we got surprises. There's a state of play from Sony coming up, and they kind of refined what this is going to be about. It's going to be 20 minutes long. It's going to be around 4 p.m. Eastern, I believe, or 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, Wednesday, when you're listening to this on March 9th. They basically, it's going to be focused on Japanese publishers. So that means we get a Babylon Paradise. I think that's that Square Platinum game that nobody wants that's coming out. Right. Then we've got essentially Stray, Forspoken, and then I'm trying to think. I think there's a few others like the Chrono Cross remake. There's a few other games too from Japanese studios. But
Forspoken just got delayed, didn't it?
Yeah,
Is that
Forspoken
one?
got
Yeah.
delayed until like the fall. So yeah, so I'm like, and they just did and then Ghostwire Tokyo, that's coming out in March as well. But they just did like a gameplay and kind of a deep dive on that game too. So I really don't know how much time they can spend in any of those games. I think it's Babylon Fall. That's the one game. Sorry, for the Final Fantasy spinoff, which nobody seems excited about. So I don't know if they're going to do a whole lot in those games. I hope they don't. I hope we get new news, and hopefully, Mark, I'm hoping our friends at Capcom show up and they
I
talk
was just
about,
gonna say Street
yeah,
Fighter.
Street Fighter 6. We're going to get more news in summer. Maybe we'll get something else, a tease or something like that, because of Sony and their relationship. We haven't heard much about the next like Resident Evil like remake
Right.
or proper Resident Evil, so that we might get some of that. There's rumors about Konami potentially having backdoor deals with Sony to get some IP. All these things. Joseph Moran is going insane, thinking he's going to get something. I don't know, but I'm hoping we get some new announcements, not just refreshes.
Right.
But they aren't going to do hardware or VR announcements. So, Sean Nias, sorry, bud, nothing for you with that. Game wise, you might get something, but maybe something you don't really care about, because I'm not sure if any of the games they announce with a Japanese flair will be for you. And that's been a big pushback on Sony, is like, oh, you're abandoning Japan. What could be cool, Mark, and when you eventually get a PS5, we have Astrobot. And if we get another Astrobot game that is both for PSVR and a standard, those games are amazing. They're kind of like the Kirby of PlayStation platformers. That would be so awesome, because Team Asobi is a PlayStation or Sony Japanese developer for Sony. They're so well loved now because of that new game, the VR experience. That could be cool if they tease something there. So that's my take. I think we may get a Capcom announcement. We may get a Konami announcement, and we potentially could get a Team Asobi announcement that does that game. Any thoughts, Mark?
No, I think that Capcom was the one that jumped out to me. That I there's been so many rumblings about, like you said, Resident Evil and Street Fighter, that when they said they were going Japanese developer, I thought that maybe something from Square, like you said. I think you kind of summed it up pretty well of what to expect from this. But as always with any kind of state of play or direct or one of these kind of showcases, you want something new, you want something exciting. So many games have been pushed back, so many games have been delayed, there's constantly those stories that it's nice to look forward to things. And Nintendo just, I think, knocked it out of the park a couple of weeks ago with their first direct this year. So let's see Sony come out swinging.
Absolutely. And Sony's released a lot of games so far this year. They've had a couple of directs and things like that. Gran Turismo is getting great reviews and all those games. So, I mean, they've had a great beginning of the year. Sony has lacked kind of like the big games at the end of the year. They've had like releases in the year. What we haven't heard of is Xbox is so quiet right now. It's like, we don't know what's coming. We don't know when they're going to show up again.
Anything ready. I think they've had to push back so many things that I think they're going to be like Sony was last fall. Like they have to go a little quiet because there's nothing, for whatever reason, nothing really in the pipeline. Like Xbox has made such news out of their big acquisitions and far down the line kind of things, but I don't think any of that's going to pay dividends for a little while. So I think this year on the Xbox side I'm thinking it's going to be a quiet year.
Wow, it's so crazy. Maybe hopefully what we'll hear, Mark, is they're going to dip big into third-party like Game Pass exclusives, which would be cool. I mean, I'd love to play some free games that are big on Game Pass, because we haven't got all the huge like announcements. We've got Guardians of the Galaxy, which by all means, pick that game up on Game Pass in the next couple of days because it's awesome. But beyond that, there's been just little drips and drabs. So, it's going to be an interesting year. It's very quiet. We haven't heard much about E3 yet, but we're going to hear that soon. We're 3 months away, Mark, from E3. So hold your horses.
It's getting real close.
Yeah. So, you know what, folks? Hold your horses, because we are ready to get our visors out.
I don't have mine ready to go. I see it.
Oh my goodness. And yours would look better because it's white. I'm a little jealous about that. But yeah, we're going to talk about the
funny because I was like, I wish this came in a black model.
Yeah, white is not great. Yeah, white is not great, although mine has cloth on it. Why would you put cloth on any device that's going to be near you and getting some sweat on it? It's gross.
Right.
Yeah, cloth doesn't clean. So yeah, it's weird. So I have the Quest version 1. I got it in, I guess, February 2020 when it was fairly new. My son was jonesing for it. He put towards it. It was we splurged on the 128 gigabyte model, which was, I think it was $500. I think, because it was 400 and then you had to pay an extra $100 for the extra 4 gigs. My version is, that was their initial foray into uh, basically a tetherless VR system that was deemed not a piece of trash. It wasn't requiring your phone being in there. It was getting wide support. And I think Facebook at the time took a hit on the hardware for cost to get it into everybody's hand, and it was wildly successful. I believe it's the number one VR platform today.
By a
And
long shot.
Yeah, and at this point, there's really only a couple of VR platforms worth mentioning before we kick this off, and that is MetaQuest. MetaQuest, I guess we're calling it now. There are 2 versions. I don't think you can get the old one, but you can get the second one fairly cheap. $250 is your entry point. Awesome that you get it. There's also then we have the Valve Index, which is the opposite end. High-end PC required, high-end entry point for like $1,200. We've got, there's probably some other ones out there that are like more of there's Windows actually has this like AR VR model that you can get that supports Windows, that you can get entry points from HP, different things like that. They're fairly good, but it's just like the support's a little awkward. They only support PC stream gaming, and they require a PC. So that's kind of where we stand. And the cool part about Quest, it supports kind of a hybrid approach because you can connect to a PC and access a Steam library of PC VR games, which I've done. And Mark, my version requires either a cable or using Windows desktop, virtual desktop, which is not the ideal thing.
Right.
But the cool part about Quest VR 2, they dipped into a wireless connection that uses, I think, high-speed Wi-Fi or something like that, that works even better than a cable. So you can have the best of both worlds if you own a gaming PC, which you don't.
Right.
But still, yeah. So
yeah, it's for me it was the wireless approach, and I just want something contained and not to mess with the PC side of things. And for that, I'm very much enjoying it. When I said Quest 2 is the leading VR system, I just read something from PC Gamer. So Quest 2 is now the headset of choice for 46% of Steam VR users. So with that, this is people tethering to PC. So it cuts out, people that are just playing like I am, the Quest, and also cuts out stuff like the PSVR, I believe. But it's a pretty good indicator of like, that is the like 46% market share. That is wild. And I'd love to see their actual like straight up market share. It's crazy.
Yeah, at one time, PlayStation VR was the leader because it really was an entry point where Quest wasn't there yet. Because if you owned a PlayStation, it was $400 for the headset, and it was an easy way in versus needing a high-end PC. So that made sense. And we are, I don't want to neglect that audience. Sean Nias owns a PlayStation VR, loves it. I've never tried some of the games it has. I've used PlayStation VR. It's got a great screen. It's very comfortable. So there's like the 2 things, but it's kind of held back by other technology, meaning the wands and things like that. Whereas the Quest really nailed a lot of cool things. So one of the cool things that the Quest does, Mark, and we can get into this, has a cool, almost like an AR mode where it uses external cameras so you can see your horizon in your environment so you don't run into things, and you then mark your perimeter, which makes it very cool. It's got a great intro which everybody loves. Everybody loves the intro for the quest because it's very fun. It's very simple. You do a little dancing, do a little firing, you throw some paper airplanes, fun stuff like that. And you mark your territory so you don't run into things or hit your camera. And it always tells you when you're getting close. So very user friendly. It doesn't require any external cameras. It doesn't require like the dongles for the index. It actually requires you to like mount cameras and things around your room. It requires a big space. You're still tethered. And the good news is PlayStation is going to simplify with VR2 with one wire and eventually Kamar, and they're gonna basically take a lot of the cues from Quest, which is a lot of those cameras on the outside. It's gonna like virtualize your fingers. Which, did you know that was a thing, Mark? Like it would actually know your fingers.
You can, so that's an experimental feature right now on the Quest 2.
Yeah.
Is being able to use hand controls. I've dabbled with it a little bit. I still definitely prefer a controller because I do find it a little wonky. Apparently there are games that use hand controls and they're getting updated and kind of learning a little bit more. So that's why it's an experimental feature right now. I don't find it quite as accurate as just being able to point and pull a trigger with a controller, but there's some interesting stuff. I love that path through feature that you were talking about, like drawing your perimeter, but also with a toddler running around on the Quest. If you double tap the side of the Quest, it instantly turns on those cameras.
I've never used that. I have to check.
I think you have to turn that on.
Okay.
It's in the settings, and I forget what the setting's called, but you turn that on in like the Guardian mode or whatever, and you actually just double tap on the thing, and the cameras come on, and you can kind of see what's going on.
Is it still in black and white on the
still in black and
Quest
white?
2? Okay.
Yeah.
And then you have to watch out because pets and small children.
Yep.
Who are not in control of their environment. They don't know what's going on. They just run wherever they want. So you don't want like the Wii and the Wiimote and the TV kid getting hit by accident and you have to explain to everybody what happened. Like I was using VR. That's why that happened. It's kind of an awkward situation.
Almost got smoked by Loren playing Fruit Ninja. Like it was me screaming like, watch out. And her, because she was kind of swinging the swords like a little low, and he was like kind of playing over and then came tearing through the room and directly towards her. So it was kind of like me screaming, like kind of stopped him for a second and also let her kind of raise up the hands. And it was a close one. If I wasn't paying attention, he probably would have got punched in the face by a controller. And that would not have been awesome for the first weekend of the Quest. But
it's a funny thing you have to think about because it's like you normally wouldn't. But you are. And one of the scary parts is if you play scary games. It's great for scary games because you feel like you are enclosed, and it does a really good job of like getting all of the bright light out of your area, and you feel like you're kind of secluded. So it can be creepy. Doing Quest by yourself at home alone might not do great things for feeling secure in your environment.
Yep. It's it is super immersive. Like I said, with the games that I've been playing, like the Walkabout mini golf is incredibly immersive because you can literally kind of like bend down and look at the lay of the ball or look at how the stage slopes or look around the environment. There's hidden balls in each one of these stages. So you find like it's a different color ball or a ball with a little Jolly Roger symbol on it or a ball that looks like a globe or whatever. And you find them hidden through the stages. But like I found myself, instead of the smart thing to do would be just to stand in one place and teleport yourself in the game, which you can do just like any other VR game.
Smart thing, Mark.
That's the smart thing, Todd.
Yes.
Me, being not the smartest all the time, decided to get up and walk around these stages. And I'm very lucky that Finn's small little toy table was there because I would have walked directly into the wall. Because I was looking for one of these stupid balls and I'm looking around the stage and I'm walking around and like, I don't know if I didn't draw my perimeter enough. I kind of like drew it up against the wall, which was dumb because by the time it notifies me, I'm already walking into the damn wall. So I kind of hit my foot on the table and was like, oh, what was that? And took the headset off and was like, oh, I was about to just like straight up faceplant into the wall. Like, no hesitation. This wall right behind me, right over there. That one right there.
It is, and we don't want to scare people away. There are ways to protect yourself.
Oh,
you
absolutely.
Really
yeah, just don't be dumb.
Yeah, exactly. Don't be dumb. Pick the good space. It accounts for your space you have, so you don't need a huge room, which is nice. What it does is just limits how much you can free move, but you can teleport. You can move directly as you want.
There's even most of these games play in couch mode, which sets a perimeter up just like a circle around your couch. That's or where you're sitting on your couch, which is also like the home place where you can like select your games and stuff. You can bring your couch into that, which is really cool.
I haven't done that either.
Like I scanned like the told it where my couch was, like where the cushion started in the other one, and it puts it in there like in your space station or in your little geodesic dome or whatever.
Oh, that ship, by the way, that ship, that was not available at launch because at first you locked in and you're part of like almost like a crib, like, you're in a house and you can walk around. There's like an outdoor, but when they added the ship, that is cool. That is cool. So
and the cyberpunk place that's
I haven't tried that one.
Oh yeah, that one's cool too. It's like a cyberpunk city or something. Yeah,
that's neat. I'm glad they're just expanding some of those options because when I was in the ship, I'm like, I told Logan, I'm like, you got to see this. Just added this. So yeah, it's so neat. And there's so many cool things. I mean, another thing, Mark, the media watching, you can watch YouTube videos, movies, those experiences, wearing your headset, because it's immersive. It's like the biggest screen you've ever had in your life. And I did use some of the hand controls for controlling some of those things, Mark. It's nice not to have the controllers in your hand and just like pinch and zoom or pinch and move, which is what a lot of it is. It's like pinch to select and then move is pretty easy. It's pretty well done. Not for gameplay, but for interacting with the screen, kind of like the old days with Kinect. Yeah.
Yeah. On the video side, I've watched it was like a Planet Earth type documentary kind of thing, going like flying through rainforests and over safaris and stuff. And the other one was it was a wingsuit gliding, which you think if something's going to make me motion sick, it's going to be being inside like the helmet cam of some dude wingsuiting over a mountain. And I just thoroughly enjoyed that one. And then Star Wars made me kind of like, oh, I'm getting a little dizzy here. So I don't know what to tell you there, but yeah, even the video stuff is really cool. And you have to watch like how far you turn your head, because most of it's like 180 degree video.
Yeah, the field of views can be a little bit big. Yeah.
I kept noticing that one with the Planet Earth type thing, because I wanted to look around, because it was like almost like Soarin', if you've been to like Disney World or whatever.
Yeah.
It was almost like that experience where you're kind of like flying over everything. There are a couple of that like you're on the ground, but for the most part you're flying over trees and over this whatever. And so I kept looking all around, but like I kept noticing that like black wall on the side. And it's like, that's killing this immersion a little bit, but it's still so cool. I've yet to experience a concert, but there is a Foo Fighters concert that I really, really need to go to. It's so cool. It's such a different way to experience things. And one thing I want to ask is, do you think VR is the future of gaming, or do you think it's always going to be a novelty? Like, do you think this is going to get to the I don't know if you watch Upload on Amazon Prime.
Oh, Upload's great.
Or
love
it. Can't wait.
Yeah.
The new season starts Friday.
I need to actually watch more than I've only watched 2 episodes, Mark. So
Todd, come on.
I know. I'm just proving Charlie right. Charlie watches a couple episodes and never gets back to it. I will.
We just watched it all start to finish season 1 over the weekend while we were not feeling.
Is it the peeing scene that just made me laugh?
Oh my god, that was the funniest thing.
So good. The funeral where you're watching your own funeral. It's like, really? That's what we're
interacting in your own funeral. Yeah, so weird. But like that, like Ready Player One, like is that?
Oh yeah.
Is that the point we get to where it's that kind of thing, or do you think for at least a little while this is going to be like a novelty, fun thing to be like, show this to your friends, or here play some Beat Saber, or here do this or do that, but gaming for the most part is going to stay PC console.
It's really interesting because I know people's relationship with Facebook or Meta, whatever it's called, is a hard sell, right? It's like, oh God, I don't like them, but some people like them. But if any company is going to drive that, I guess, broad entry into that, it's going to be a company like that. A Twitter or something like that is definitely on the zeitgeist. It gets out to people, and they've got a broad audience, and they've got unlimited pockets. So I think because of that, you've seen the commercials for it, highlighting like certain areas that are like universal to people. Working out with a Meta Quest is fantastic. I've tried Supernatural. Mark, just try Supernatural. You're working out in these beautiful vistas, and it's like Beat Saber, but it's more focused with a trainer, and it's phenomenal. And I think those type of go ahead.
No, I cannot get over, because it adds your Facebook friends or suggests your Facebook friends. I cannot get over the amount of people that have a Quest 2 that, and maybe this is just me being prejudiced or something, but like, I would not have guessed some of these people. Like my uncle has a Quest 2, and I talked to him, and I was like, when, why, what? And he was like, we love it. He and his girlfriend like do the Supernatural and workout and all this kind of stuff. And then like a woman at work has one that like I wouldn't have thought played anything more than like doodle jump on a phone once. Like just not the type of person I was expecting to jump into some gaming stuff. And she said like she never plays games, but like she does the workout stuff on Quest and does yoga and this kind of stuff. And it's like, holy crap. And like like the friends list is a lot broader than I expected when I bought the Quest. I expected like you and a few other people. Like I knew Loren's brother has one, like gamers. I expected this to be kind of a gaming focused thing. And it is like, it's a broader audience than I expected for those kind of scenarios. Like, like it's interesting.
Yeah, I think you need something like that to really build that broad base. For gaming, I still think there's a lot of pushback on it as a gaming experience, because gaming is not just short experiences, it's long experiences. So that will be a hard thing to put something on your head, battery, fatigue, sweating, all those things are just like, do you really want that? So I think gaming isn't going to be the end all be all for VR, but I think it's going to be a really important element to bring in new experiences, because you can only go so far with the controls and the console you've got today. So I think that type of experience can really do some really cool things when you add in those really cool elements of interaction. But I mean, Mark, I'm getting ready to buy a house. And how cool it would be for me to strap on my headset and get a virtual tour of a house without actually having to go to the house and deal with other people or things like that. Or I want to see the Louvre, or I want to go on these cool experiences. I want to go to a concert, but I don't want to be around a billion people and have to worry about if I pee, is somebody going to take my spot, or is somebody going to punch me in the head? I mean, all these cool things you can do on that. And I think ultimately those are what draw people in, but the barrier is only going to get dropped when you make it less intrusive and you can bring in other people. So whether it's like more goggle like, less battery intensive, things like that, I think it'd be cool. Obviously, Apple has a play potentially. What are they going to do? AR, VR, like actually using your environment, including virtual reality plus augmented reality. There's so many ways they could go after this technology that it's going to be interesting. But to your point, the fact that it's already gotten people we didn't expect already, and the fact that the Quest is so easy to pick up, take to a party, or take to hang out with friends and just say, experience it, enjoy it, have a good time. I'm going to take mine to work. That's what I always wanted to do. We're opening up, things are getting better. We're going to have connections with employees. I'm going to take mine in and just let people have a good time. And one of the cool parts, Mark, that we haven't even talked about is you can cast.
I was just going to mention that.
To a screen so people can actually see what you're watching or the dumb thing you're doing. And it's a little bit funky at times, but it's just Chromecast. It just goes to a device, a Roku, I think maybe even Apple devices have it so you can cast to it potentially.
It's tough to do on an Apple device. You have to use the Oculus app. Okay. So it only goes to your phone, and then if you want it to the TV, so then you'd have to screen mirror, which I tried. It worked. We were able to watch my brother do some Beat Saber stuff. It was fine. It wasn't an ideal experience. I am going to try it using my MacBook.
Okay.
Because apparently you can use like just the Chrome browser, and there's a website to go to that hooks it up that way or something like that. And then I could just plug that into HDMI instead of like double casting, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are ways, but it's so much fun to be able to like watch and see what the people are doing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And there's so many.
There's really cool game experiences too, where it incorporates one player in VR and one player. Stop talking and no one explodes, I think, is the one game, Mark, that I recommend for you. It's basically like there's a bomb and someone has instructions, and you have to tell that one person what to do, and they're kind of discerning how to disassemble a bomb. It's a great gaming experience, and typically it's one person with a laptop and people with printing out instructions. But with somebody in VR doing it, that could be a hoot. So I think there's opportunities for gaming ultimately with somebody using it, but also people playing with the character. So
I heard Acron is a good one with that. It's like Acorn, only a little letters flipped. So the person in VR plays a tree, and everyone else uses their phone, and they're squirrels trying to grab your nut.
I've heard about that game.
It's a weird
Mark, are you going after my nuts?
I just said the words "everyone's trying to grab your nuts," and I had to stop myself because that's a
wouldn't be your first time, Mark, from what I understand.
Well, that's we all have a past, but that's a thing that and apparently that one works. So I've heard people that the woman at work apparently was playing with some people over like FaceTime. So she had her computer set up on FaceTime because it's more fun when you can actually hear the people and talk and whatever.
Yeah.
So she had someone in VR and then other people through like a FaceTime call. So I mean, obviously with this kind of scenario, you need multiple devices because you can't FaceTime on the device that you're playing with. So it was quite the setup. She said it's easier if you have several people in the same room, but she said it did work where I think the person, like everyone was playing on their phone, but then you had like an iPad FaceTiming to a computer, FaceTime, like it was that kind of setup, right? She said that was a lot of fun. So I need to pick that game's on my wish list, my growing wish list, because there's so many darn games available for this thing. But
there's lots of free games. Sometimes there's bundles, Mark. So I'll continue to like tell you when something's free so you can enjoy it. There's bundles.
That website
awesome.
you sent is awesome.
Yeah, it's great. So there's a lot of
every single day.
A lot of cheap deals. There's right now, I think you get, that game you mentioned is $10. The Walkabout mini golf. There's lots there. There's lots of different options to play. There's really cool stuff you can do. And it's just, this is emerging technology that we're just at the beginning of. So, I mean, if you're curious, by all means, it's $250. The fact that Quest getting in entryway is so cheap and you can just enjoy it. And then we have obviously the PlayStation VR 2 is coming out as well this fall. So I'm not sure if PC VR gaming specifically will exist going forward, just because the point of entry, what you need with PCs, the hardware is really expensive. But a Quest with PC gaming is definitely doable. And I'm very jealous, Mark, about the Quest 2 because they've done some really cool things to improve that hardware, made it cheaper, made it really better in some ways. So that's my only frustration, because I'm like, I bought too early. So early regret.
Yeah.
But you benefited from it's cheaper and better.
Yeah. And to that point, it's I know you mentioned Apple before, but the rumblings right now is that they're eventually working towards some sort of AR system that's basically just like glasses, but that's so many years away that right now they're working on a VR AR hybrid that I've heard rumors that's going to cost up to like $3,000 and is more developer focused and professional focused and that kind of stuff. So like, it seems that there's some companies that aren't even aiming for a consumer product at this point, where I think Facebook's onto something or Meta's onto something with get that cheap barrier of entry. Like you said, like it's almost just like, why not just try it? Like if you're interested in it, it's almost one of those things that I'm not saying don't think about it, because I obviously thought about it for like a year of like, oh, I could spend this money on something else, or oh, I could do that, or I could, whatever. But like, end of the day, like there's a lot more expensive ways to spend your technology money and entertainment money, and the experiences on this. And we've been a lot of focused on gaming and stuff like that, but like just the experiences on this are really, really cool. Like, yeah, it's neat.
Yeah, and there are lots of accessories you can get too, because some people complain about like sweating, things like that. You can get cool different face shields. There actually is a battery backup you can put in that'll add more battery that actually balances out the headset. You can do different things to charge it if you want to. Like I said, if you experience motion sickness, the C-bands, there's a variety of things you can do, and that's really cool because you can customize it. It's there's really a good a group of opportunities to look into customization as well. So I've enjoyed. I've got a couple different face shields. I got a case for it. And
that was the first thing. I ran out and grabbed a case like a couple of days after I bought it, because I just bought it because I didn't, for whatever reason, I didn't picture myself taking it places. I kind of figured this was going to be like a console. I set it up in my living room, and I know it's wireless, but I didn't think it'd move too much past my living room. And like the first couple of days, like I was transporting, I took it to my parents' house to show my brother, and I put it back in the box that it came in. I was like, this is not ideal. So I instantly went out and got a hard case for it. But like, there's so many accessories and stuff. You search on Amazon quickly, and it's just, there's so much.
See, this is my case. It's pretty simple. Yeah, opens up, holds everything. Super duper easy. Yeah, it's great. Yeah. And I've had mine for 2 years, and I continue to go back to it, and I'm going to get back to it. I've got games I want to play. We'll continue to talk about this, Mark, because we'll have someone to talk about VR stuff. Yeah. This is very fun. Very cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so let us know your thoughts on VR. Are you interested? Questions? Let us know. Obviously, Sean Nias is excited about PlayStation VR 2, and there's questions about that. Games will come forward, but that system sounds awesome, but I'm guessing that's going to be a little bit higher end. So there's going to be something for everybody at every entry point for VR. So that is it, Mark. So tell people where they can find you in the world of video gaming.
Well, you can find me at on Xbox and Switch at Canardian. You can find me on Oculus if you add me as a Facebook friend. So I don't know can you just add Oculus friends? I think you can do that, can't you?
Maybe they've changed their weird entry points.
There could be something. I will look that up for next time. Maybe if I can share the profile, I will in our Discord chat. Maybe we'll get something going on there.
Yeah.
But you can also you can find me on our Discord, Facebook, and on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, and TikTok at _Canardian.
Very, very good, my friend. On Twitter at Tioxtra for my ramblings. At Twitch at Spartion1998. I stream there. Very cool. Not very often. And on video gaming platforms, Spartion98 on Xbox and Switch, Spartion1998 on PSN, and Tioxtra on Facebook/Oculus for if you want to play with me, because I've never done online with people. I would really be interested in doing that.
We got to jump in some Horizon Worlds, I think. Just even hang out. Perfect. We could probably record a podcast in virtual reality.
That would be so cool, Mark. And we would look like fools, but we'd have a great time doing it.
Well, we got to do some tests with this and see what we can pull off. Because I know you can record.
VR would be great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So if you are interested, we'll give all of these things a try. Why not? We're adults. We have unlimited time and energy, right, Mark?
Sure, yeah. My voice is definitely telling that exact story right now.
Absolutely. It is late, folks. We need to end this podcast. Hopefully you had a good time. We did indeed. Buy the NFT behind me for no money. Just download it from Konami. There you go. That is your PSA for today. Well, as always, Mark, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining us on this voyage. We're going to have a guest next week, so look forward to that. And with that, folks, I will say, remember, it's always better to game together.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network. Visit secretfriendsunite.com for more great shows, articles, news, reviews, and more. Secret Friends Unite podcasts are available on Apple, Google, Spotify, and other podcast services around the world. If you'd like to be part of the conversation, you can join us on Facebook or our new Discord server, or follow @SecretFriendsU on Twitter. Please subscribe to Secret Friends Unite on YouTube and visit our merch store at tpublic.com. Just search Secret Friends Unite. Thanks for listening.